Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Claire. How are you, Dakota?
I'm doing good. How about you, Claire?
I'm doing good. So we're getting really close to the end of the year.
Yes, we are. However, that means some people will be leaving us. Today, we're saying farewell to our seniors in the radio TV program.
We sat down with 3 of our seniors, VanOsdol, Eddie Mullins, and Kaydence Ham, to talk about their time in radio TV.
Next, we show off some of their work during their time in radio TV.
We also talked with Mr. Hudson and Mr. Holzclaw about their departing seniors.
But first, here is Jake's senior interview, who I had much pleasure speaking to. Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Dakota, here with my man, Jacob VanOsdol. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So you're graduating from Greenfield-Central here in a month. And as a member of the radio TV program for 2 years, you've made a lot of memories and learned a lot of new skills. So today we're going to talk about your time in radio TV. So starting off, as a junior, you began your radio TV journey. What influenced you to take this class?
So my buddy Caleb he texted my friend Corbin also in the program, and Caleb was as well. We wanted a blow-off class with the 3 of us all together, so he told us to take Principles of Broadcasting. We had no idea what it was going to be, and then Caleb ended up in a different class than us, but Corbin and I ended up in the same class together in here, and then we really just fell in love with the program, and we ended up having a great time here, and that was that.
All right, so what did you think of this class starting out, and did you see yourself committing to it?
Yeah, I think I did pretty much right away. I think the first day they showed us a lot of the equipment they have and just a lot of the cool stuff that they do, and I was pretty much immediately intrigued, and I just wanted to learn more.
So what were some of your favorite projects you did in your 2 years in the program?
I think probably the black and white film. I worked on that with Eddie and Nick. That was a lot of fun to work on. Filming, editing, all of it was a great time. My first short film with Corbin was a lot of fun, and then I think the music video I made for Black Hole Sun, also with Eddie and Nick, those were all super fun. And then really all my projects from this year, the packages we did in Let's Talk Sports, and then really every episode of Cougar Creations is different, but also kind of the same format, and I really had a lot of fun with all those this year.
Building off of that, what are some of your favorite radio TV memories, kind of behind the scenes?
I think behind the scenes is just, messing around with whoever's in your group. First it was me and Corbin, and then it was me, Eddie, and Nick, and then, this year it's been the Let's Talk Sports crew, and then it's been everybody here in Cougar Creations, and you and Nick and everybody. I think just being around all the people and meeting a lot of new friends that, if I didn't take this class, I probably wouldn't be friends with. I think that's probably my favorite part.
So outside of school, you've done a lot of work for 9 Star, filming games and commentating. How did working with equipment outside of class help build your skills in radio TV? I
think just, the extra repetitions and just doing stuff more and more. The first time Corbin and I called a game for radio, I'd never done it before, so just kind of jumping into it and taking that first step without really knowing what you're doing, I think can be really good, because you kind of just have to figure it out on the fly, and I don't know, I think that helped a lot. During the second semester this year, you joined us for Cougar Creations while also being in Let's Talk Sports. How has the experience been combining the two? So obviously they're just very different vibes and very different classes. Let's Talk Sports is very laid back. One day we'll be doing coach interviews, we'll be working on documentaries, then we'll be working on a package. It's just kind of every day could be a different thing. And then Cougar Creations is very like, we have this schedule, this 2 weeks, we're working on this episode about downtown businesses. This day we need to get this, then we need to edit, all that kind of thing. And then, the next time it's this episode, but kind of same format. So they're just very different classes, but they're also both a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's certainly pretty difficult. Building off of that, what are some of the most challenging changes that you had to adapt to while doing both?
I think just starting Cougar Creations, it was just so different. It's just a very, very different experience. It's like coming up with a package. It would be, GC New Pal rivalry, and we do a bunch of little stuff here around the school and stuff like that. And then Cougar Creations is very different. We go outside of the school a lot more, which is a lot of fun. And we have to plan out for those like longer interviews as well, and reaching out with people like, doing the mayor interviews, stuff like that. So it's just very different.
So learning under Mr. Holtzclaw and Mr. Hudson for 2 years, you have learned a lot. How have they both helped develop your skills? I
mean, really just like everything I've learned. Like I came in, I didn't know anything. I would film, if I was filming, God forbid, I'd film vertically, wrong aspect ratio. We've all heard that a million times. But, really everything from filming, setting up a shoot, editing, like just everything. They've taken me from like I was a really bad editor when I started, and now I think I'm a pretty decent editor. And like starting off I was pretty bad on camera, and now I'm a lot more comfortable on camera. I really don't mind being on camera. They've really just pushed me through like all these different things, and they've helped me so much, like with allowing me to film 9-star games, allowing me to do radio, stuff like that. They've really helped a lot.
So since you're leaving us soon, Jake, what are your plans for after high school?
After high school, I will be attending Ball State University to study sports reporting and digital media production.
So finally, what is one piece of advice you would give to a new radio TV student?
I'd say just effort, really. You don't have to be the best at everything. They don't expect every student that comes into radio TV to be great on camera, also great editor. Like, you don't have to be good at everything. Just be good at what you're good at and do your best with everything else. You might not be a great editor, so when you're working by yourself editing some projects, it might not be the best, but if they see effort, stuff like that, they're willing to work with you, and like it's really just all about effort. So you get into it, what you put in, and
all right, well, that's all I have for you, man. It's been an honor to work with you this year. So thank you for sitting down and talking with me, and thank you for your contributions to the program.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Dakota, here with Mr. Hudson. How have you been today?
Busy. Yeah, busy. Quite busy.
So with Jacob VanOsdol graduating here soon, let's talk about his time in the radio TV program. So kicking it off, on the first day of class, what were your first impressions of Jake?
Well, I don't know. It's tough, right? Because that was the year I'd kind of gotten launched back into teaching principals. So you're just trying to feel out on the first day who you think may be what we call the players, people that are just ready to go out of the gate, and then who's going to need a lot of work. VanOsdol just kind of seemed like, along with Corbin, because they knew each other, seemed like they would probably just be ready to go. They were also juniors when they came, and that's usually a pretty good sign. They had a pretty good academic record at the time, so it's the first day, so you're just feeling people out. But I would say he started off pretty strong with the first couple projects.
So if you were to describe Jake in one word, what would it be?
Jake in one word, I would say he's actually very outgoing. I would say he's a very outgoing guy. I think I noticed that when he picked me as his influential educator and he gave a speech, and normally the kids are really nervous to get up and talk to people, but he didn't feel that way. He was really ready to talk in front of a live audience, which is, I think he kind of had that before, but I think radio TV helped him a lot, and it helps all you guys a lot develop the ability to speak in front of people and command a room, and that's what we want to teach you.
You've been able to observe Jake's growth over time. What do you think of his development over his 2 years in the program?
It's been good. It's been good. Our long-term instructor, Mr. McKenna, has always been quoted as saying, if you want to do well in radio TV, you'll do well on radio TV. It's really that simple. It's just how much effort are you willing to put in. So I think he kind of came in with an attitude of wanting to do well. And believe it or not, Dakota, most people end up doing well when they want to do well. You know, the people that say they want to do well and they don't actually do the work, they're just lying to themselves. But I think from the start, he showed genuine interest. And if you're interested in what we're doing in here, you're probably going to have success because you'll be invested in the work you're doing.
So when going through the past few years with Jake, what is your favorite memory?
I mean, the influencer educator thing is special. When you teach radio TV, you don't get a lot of them. You really don't. So that was special that he chose me for that. Being able to broadcast some basketball with him was really special this year. Obviously, getting to watch him play football was great. Getting to know his parents, you know, talking to his parents, met his mom and his dad. So I would say those are probably have been the highlights. And, you know, obviously he'll continue with us in the summer in a different capacity. But, you know, it's just a relationship that I hope continues to grow. And, you know, we stay in touch with them all throughout his collegiate and professional career.
So lastly, what is your final send-off or piece of advice you would like to give to Jake?
Yeah, so I would just say thank you. I think he knew what he wanted to do. He's figured it out in high school. That's a great thing to be that young, and he was unsure before he got here. So I would just say keep pouring everything into it. You know, it takes a lot of work to make a good career in this industry, but if you love what you do and you're passionate, then you can make it work. So I think he'll continue to grow his skills. He'll have a great summer with us. I think he'll come into his freshman year at college very skilled and be able to lead his team that he's assigned to in classes to really good projects. So, you know, I think he'll, as long as he just stays kind of on it every day, that's how you improve at this stuff. It's just a daily process. I would just tell him to stick with it, and we're happy for what he did, but certainly his time is just beginning.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking to me about Jake's radio TV journey.
You're welcome, Dakota.
Coming up next is our senior, Kaydence Ham.
Welcome back to Cougar Creations. My name is Braden Tam, joined here with Kaydence. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So what made you want to join radio and TV?
Really at first I didn't want to join, but I just needed one more credit to be able to play my senior year of tennis. So with Mr. Holtzclaw being one of our coaches, he was like, hey, you should take this class. So I decided to, and it's been a lot of fun so far. Really, I just took it because I needed the extra credit.
Gotcha. Now, overall, what has been your opinion of this class?
At first, it was a little bit slow moving, learning how to get things done. But after that, like, I've done a few interviews now and edited a few videos, and it's been a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's been quite a fun class.
Now, what would you say has been the most difficult part of high school?
The most difficult part of high school has probably just been like managing all the assignments from like a bunch of different classes, because obviously your freshman year you have like around 8 classes, and your senior year it gets a little bit easier because you can do like work release and things like that. So I'd probably just say all the homework and just keeping like your work life and like your school life and home life all balanced, in my opinion.
Gotcha. And what memory would you say would be forever in your heart?
Probably nothing from school, but from like a tennis memory. Probably just, honestly, last night was a lot of fun. Our team went 3-0 this week. So we kind of went out to eat after. I went with my family, but after I went and talked to my team, and that was just a lot of fun, just team bonding. And having those wins this week was a good memory.
Now, is there anything in high school you wish was done differently?
One thing I wish I did differently was my freshman year, I kind of slacked off a little bit, and everyone was like, you need to try your best your freshman year, like that's your most important year, and I never took them serious. So I set myself up for a little bit of failure that year, so I wish I would have tried a little bit harder.
Now, what advice would you give to incoming freshmen who are going to be taking radio TV next year?
Listen to what Mr. Hudson and Mr. Holtzclaw have to say. They know what they're doing. And just talk to them because they're really good people, and have fun in this class because it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And do you prefer working here in the radio station, or do you prefer doing, the TV side of things more?
I mean, I've done more of like the radio station stuff, so I'd probably say that, but doing like the TV side of things was a lot of fun too whenever I did it, but I like being like more by myself, so That's why I prefer doing the radio stuff.
And what are your plans for after high school?
After high school, I'm going to IU Indianapolis for pre-nursing, and then hopefully their nursing program after 2 years. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. And do you have any parting words before you graduate?
Just have fun. It goes by actually really fast, even though you don't think it does. I guess that's it. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, Kaydence, thank you for coming in and talking to me.
Thanks, Brady.
And thank you guys for watching. Hi, I'm here with Mr. Holtzclaw to talk about Kaydence's time here in radio TV. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So what was your first impression of Kaydence?
So I first met Kaydence last winter doing tennis. So I came out, helped out the girls team that year. And I think it's safe to say that she was a bundle of energy and very talkative person. And she was probably one of the first girls that I kind of knew her name and kind of connected with because of that. So that was good to see. Throughout radio and TV time, she's been more than willing to do whatever is asked. I mean, you heard her talk about how she kind of did this just so that she could meet the credit hours, things like that, in order to continue playing tennis. But it's been fun to see her get more involved with this stuff and get more into it. I mean, just last couple of days when we finished her interview with Coach Turpin, she was just like telling me at the end of class, she goes, I didn't want to leave. I had so much fun doing the editing. Like, it was just a lot of fun to do that. So it's always fun to see that kind of stuff happen when people get excited about it.
Now, what was it like having Kaydence in your class?
Having Kaydence in class, it was a lot of fun. I mean, Kaydence and I are already pretty good friends, like just outside of class. So having her in here is just having another friend, kind of like how we're friends already, Brady. So like, it was good to see that kind of stuff. And it's just nice to have another person along that line, especially because her class is nothing but freshmen too. So it's just nice to have another face that's not a freshman that I can kind of go back to and just have like a calming presence at times, because of the fact that with the freshman class, like they are very solid at what they're doing. You've seen it in here with them, but it's just nice to have someone who is a little bit more experienced in life and then is a little bit calmer when it comes to the high school pressure and things like that, compared to second semester freshmen who are still a little bit high strung, finding their way around things. So it's good to have a calming presence like that. And it was just a lot of fun to see her like grow throughout the time with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And what would you say Kaydence's best skills are?
Oh, talking for sure. She's an excellent talker. So having her on radio, I think it's been great to have her do that. Having a voice on radio is always good with this kind of stuff. We don't tend to have it a lot, I feel like. So having that kind of consistent voice and having people that they can kind of fall back on, and people can kind of come up to me and be like, oh yeah, I listened during the 10:30 to 11:30 hour and I heard this voice, and obviously it was great to hear that. She seems good at what she's doing. So it's good to hear that kind of feedback, and good to hear another voice just on radio, so that it does sound better for our system, especially after our system kind of had the malfunction. So we've had a fallback playlist that's been going on. It's good to have that kind of different voice to kind of go off of.
Yeah. And what's one memorable thing that Kaydence did that you won't forget?
In terms of radio TV, I think it's just her first interview with like Coach Turpin, because the lead up to it, she was so high strung and nervous, things like that. And I mean, it kind of reminded me of the freshmen when they first get to it, how they have to learn how to talk to a camera and be aware of like the camera surroundings, and then just be like, okay, like we gotta focus in, we gotta relax a little bit and make sure that we're just being your normal self and being able to have a conversation with someone else, not just like a question line down the line, just be like, okay, yep, great, okay, that kind of thing. So it's just funny to see her get ready for that. And then the interview itself turned out great. Like, it really was a very good interview. So like seeing that whole process, it's always funny to see that, and just seeing it from someone who is a senior, it was just funny to see that kind of freshman nerves all come to her that way.
Good. And what are some final things you want to say to Kaydence before she graduates?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing her next step in life. I appreciate her being in the program for the short amount of time that I was, but I enjoyed having her in class. I enjoyed coaching her throughout the entire time on tennis court, so I'm really going to miss that. But it was such a great time having her here, and so I'm looking forward to seeing her do even bigger and better things as she goes off to IU Indy heading forward. So it'll be good to see that, and I can't wait to see what's next from there.
Wonderful. Appreciate you talking to me, Mr. Holtzclaw.
Yep, of course.
And thank you guys for watching.
Next, we have our talk with Eddie Mullins.
Welcome back to Cougar Creations. I'm Haley. I'm here with Eddie. Eddie, how are you today?
Good. How about you?
So you're graduating from Greenfield-Central this month, and as a member of the radio and TV program for 2 years, you've made a lot of memories and learned a lot of new skills. So today we're going to talk about your time in radio and TV.
All right.
Starting off, as a junior, you began your radio and TV journey. What influenced you to take this class?
Honestly, I'm just a real quiet person, so I kind of really wanted to open up and, kind of get on camera, start talking to people, and just learn to social skills, honestly.
So what did you think about the class starting into it?
Well, at first I was really nervous. I couldn't really talk to Hudson or Holtzclaw just about anything, but after I got used to it, I started opening up and just learning how to speak, and it got better as time went on, and I learned new people, new friends, even Jaden while I was younger, but yeah, it was good.
What were some of your favorite projects that you did in these 2 years?
Ooh, I have lots. I like the short film and the music video really, really well. That's probably my 2 favorite ones I really like doing.
What were your favorite memories of these 2 years?
Favorite memories? Honestly, just hanging out with the people that I've worked on projects with, even the music video, and the short film, just goofing around and having fun with the Foleys, making weird noises. Really love doing that. Just taking time, the little ones.
What were some of the challenges that you faced in these 2 years?
Some challenges. I would say just opening up to myself, to learning new skills, and being out of my outer shell, getting out of my outer shell and talking to people.
Learning under Mr. Holtzclaw and Mr. Hudson for 2 years, what have you all learned, and how does that help you?
Well, back to what I was saying, the social skills, it definitely helps me now, going to work. I'd say going just out in general, out in public, it definitely helps me. They definitely open me up and be like, just who cares what people think, just do what you need to do and do the best you can, and that's all that matters.
Since you're leaving us so soon, what are your plans for after high school?
Yeah, I'm going to Ball State this fall for cybersecurity, and yeah.
What's a piece of advice that you would give to an underclassman starting into this program?
Don't be shy. Ask for help if you need, help, assistance, and just try your best, and you'll get a good grade, and it'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking to me, and thank you for your time in this program.
Yep, thank you.
Welcome back to Career Creations. I'm Haley here with Mr. Hudson. Mr. Hudson, how's your day been?
I'm ready for summer. Oh, my day's been good. But yeah, I'm also ready for summer.
With Eddie Mullins graduating soon, we're here to talk about his time in the radio and TV program.
That's acceptable.
Kicking it off, on the first day of class, what were your first impressions about Eddie?
I had his cousin in class, and I thought Eddie was going to be a lot like Austin. Eddie at first was a little bit quieter. Austin Mullins was kind of out there. He was a wrestler, so he was kind of a crazy guy. So I saw Mullins, and I was like, surely they have to be related. But Eddie was kind of quiet, but he came out of his shell pretty quick. I honestly don't remember the early days a whole lot, which is kind of weird, even though I worked with him from the beginning early on, but he was kind of quiet.
If you had to describe Eddie in one word, what would the word be?
Now that I know him, what is one word for Eddie? Eddie is just consistent. He's just consistently Eddie. That's the best way to explain it. He's just he could be having the worst day ever or the best day ever. He could win the lottery or owe $1 million, and you would not know any difference because he's just a very steady kind of guy.
Since you worked with Eddie from the beginning, how was his growth over time in this program?
Well, I think he's just gotten better. I mean, he has done in a couple of years what we just expect out of everyone, and that's just to find the thing that you feel like you're strong at and get better at it. I know when he came in, he kind of feared some of the technical stuff, but now I think he's become quite capable at learning how to position cameras. I think he's gotten better speaking on camera. He got over the tuberculosis cough that he had for 6 months, which I was concerned about because he was just coughing every day for months on end. So I think he improved in a lot of areas, Haley.
Going back over the past couple years, what was your favorite memory with Eddie?
I like his rivalry with Jake. He ended up coming up victorious in that, so that's a good way to end his radio TV career, but just the back and forth. And I just like giving Eddie a hard time about his haircuts. It's just fun. But deep down he knows I'm just giving him a hard time because it's just the Mullins thing. They just have weird haircuts. His cousin was the same way.
Lastly, what is your final piece of advice that you would like to give to Eddie?
Well, first of all, just want to say thanks for taking the class, Eddie. I think you did some wonderful work while you were here. You were a solid addition to Let's Talk Sports. You know, certainly we need guys that know sports, and even though Eddie's a big football guy, he made an effort to, I feel like, lean into other sports. So my advice is at Ball State, just break out of your shell, stay involved, stay connected with VanOsdol, other people that you know, and just do some great work up there. You know, I look forward to seeing what he does when he gets to Ball State, and hopefully I'll be able to go up there and visit, just like many of our kids that are going to be up there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down with me and talking about Eddie's time here in the radio and TV program.
It's part of my job.
Hello and welcome back to Cougar Creations.
Thank you to all of our seniors for their contributions to the radio TV program.
Thank you for watching. We hope you have a Cougar-tastic summer.
Want to learn more? Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and make sure to subscribe and smash that like button on YouTube for future videos.